Today is a rather grey and cloudy day, and I thought what better time to talk about herbalist myths and stereotypes. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about 5 main stereotypes of herbalists that kind of paint everyone with the same brush and try and dispel some myths. So get comfy, get cozy, get a beverage of choice. I have coffee, and let's get started. So if you are chronically online, like me, you'll see that there's a lot that kind of goes around about herbalists, and some of the, I guess, loudest voices, especially on like short form platforms like TikTok, and if we take AI out of the picture, because that's a whole other kettle of fish, all herbalists seem to be painted with the same brush. There's a lot of really great creators out there. However, there are also some that are very loud and problematic. We're not going to name names of the ones I hate, but I want to do my part to dispel some myths if I can. We're going to talk about 5 major myths about herbalists and kind of the subcategories of things that can fall into them, especially in the online sphere, and hopefully bust some of those myths. I am Shannon, I am the Wisdom Wench, and I'm currently a herbalist, training as a clinical herbalist, specifically because I want to be able to work with more complex conditions and drug-herb interactions and things, and I feel going for the clinical side helps me do that. But let's get into it. So, myth 1, all herbalists are against modern medicine. Okay, this is a very common one. It goes into the image of the like very almost right-wing, anti-vaxxer, don't come near me, not going near hospitals. I'm talking about the very specific kind that are like vaccine causes autism. Like there's very that kind of person, which if you've done any amount of research, you know that's not true, but I digress. Some herbalists are very anti-modern medicine, a very, I guess, stripped back way of looking at medicine, and very nostalgic for that historical apothecary that's keeping everyone well, which is lovely, but they don't take into account that people died very young and the median life expectancy was not great. A lot of herbalists work with modern medicine and modern doctors and like to incorporate the two, because with a lot of herbal medicine you are taking autonomy over your health and your care in some ways that it feels like you can't within the modern medical system. And my view is that when everyone works together, it's the best outcome for an individual. So many medications that are out there today were derivative of plants, ingredients within plants that have been synthesized and been made concentrated and sometimes more accessible to people. There are a lot of people in the allopathic sphere that don't want to work with herbalists at all. And I think that's also problematic. When you have people that thrive in cooperation and all want to work together, that's the best outcome for an individual. There's a lot on both sides of allopathic medicine that doesn't want to touch naturopathic medicine, and naturopathic medicine that doesn't want to touch allopathic medicine. But the vast majority of herbalists live in the middle and exist within both worlds and feel like that's the best way to exist, because you're getting the best that all sides have to offer. The knowledge that has come from allopathic medicine cannot be understated. The wisdom that comes from naturopathic medicine cannot be forgotten. They are so impactful when they work together. What I believe as a herbalist is that allopathic modern medicine is not the enemy at all. It is wonderful and amazing and life-saving, but it does forget the wisdom that comes in herbal medicine and the connection, and that often the simplest cures aren't found in a pill. So yeah, not all herbalists are against modern medicine. Myth 2 is that there is no research into herbal medicine. There is a lot of research in herbal medicine. It mostly comes out of China, India, Japan, South Korea. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to guess why a lot of Western countries say that there's no research into herbal medicine. Oh wait. If you said racism, you'd get gold star and a cookie. Yeah, there's a lot of research in herbal medicine and a lot that goes into herbal medicine. It's done in countries where primarily herbal medicine is still used strongly in the home, or there's a strong link to it being used in the home, from countries that accept herbal medicine in their general medical care and often have herbalists within medical centres. In India, that's Ayurveda. It's very common, it's still very commonly used, it's still very widely accepted, used in the home. Sometimes there are practitioners within hospitals, specifically for Ayurveda, working as part of a medical team. That is fantastic. The same with China. China, I think it's Beijing University in China that actually has done the most research into herbal medicine of any institution in the entire world. Because traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, is widely accepted still. So they have incentive to put money into that research, so that there is a lot coming out of there. And you see a lot of sometimes white Western herbalists, but generally a lot of white Western people in the medical sphere will say that there's no research into herbal medicine, when there is. There's a lot of research into herbal medicine, and there's a lot of ongoing, amazing, and always new research coming out about herbal medicine. But generally, it's not coming from Western countries because of racism and colonialism and all of those isms. Research into herbal medicine is also very difficult to do, so it requires so much funding. When you're doing a research into a particular pill, that's a synthesized one chemical, to create a test around that is so much easier than a herb that has 50 chemicals in it, because you don't know which one's doing the thing. And also herbalists tend to work, yes, on a more spiritual level as well, when they work with the plants and working with a different sense. And when you work with plant medicines that are indigenous to a certain area, or with a healer indigenous to a certain area and a certain herbal tradition, you'll find that they speak with the plants. You can't quantify that when you're having a conversation with a dandelion. Herbalism, in its nature, is not a one-size-fits-all approach to a person. It's very holistic care, and it's so hard to find quantifiable results to a holistic model. But there are universities that are trying, and that's what's amazing. Myth 3, the herbalists are all snake oil salesmen. So for anyone who doesn't know what a snake oil salesman is, it's someone who knowingly, and often with like charisma and charm, sells cure-alls to people that don't work. Now it can be generally used for someone who's very like charismatic and a con artist. About that, I'm just going to leave you with Jilly Juice. If you don't know what that is and you want to go on a deep dive, start Googling it. I can't spend any more life on that topic, my God. But go look up that if you want to get really annoyed for an afternoon. Herbalists, generally, are people that just want to help people get better. Now, there are snake oil salesmen out there. You will find a lot of them in MLMs. Sometimes accidentally fall into that MLM sphere, sometimes willingly walk into it because they need the money. But there are snake oil salesmen out there in the herbalist world. There are in every industry. That stereotype almost seems more pronounced and vilified in the herbalism world. I think because there's already a preconception that herbalism doesn't work. The majority of herbalists just are there trying to help people in the only ways that they know how. And it comes from a really good place. There are snake oil salesmen in every industry that exists. They are in the medical industry. They're in the herbalism industry. They're in the spiritual industry. Health, beauty, whatever it is, snake oil salesmen exist. Discerning who is its own topic entirely. Majority of herbalists just want to help and come from a really good place. Myth number 4. All herbalists are all natural all the time. This is where the title of this came from, The Herbalists Don't Drink Coffee, while I sit here sipping my coffee very happily. There's this preconception, almost like almond mum hippie kind of figure, who never eats processed food and never drinks coffee or alcohol or smokes or does any of this. And you know what? Those people do exist. They've got greater willpower than me, good for them. But I work 2 jobs, as a lot of herbalists do. Herbalism is so hard to make a career out of. You will see many herbalists having multiple jobs. I'm one of them. So it means that I don't have time to bake all of my own bread from scratch. Would I love to? Yes. I love baking bread. And when I get an afternoon free and I can, it's so therapeutic and I love doing it. Would I love to make all of my own unprocessed meals from scratch? Yes, but I am one person. Those kind of lifestyles are possible when you live in a community of everyone living the same way with the same goals and like shared labour. But when you are in a hyper-individualistic Western capitalist society and you need to work to live, that doesn't happen. So herbalists aren't this mythical unicorn creature only eating amaranth bulgur wheat salads with homegrown hand-picked almond milk bullshit. I drink coffee like a lot of herbalists. Drink glass of wine in the evening because I feel like it. Like a lot of herbalists. Use makeup, use plastic, try to reduce the consumption where I can, but realistically, I can't eliminate it completely. I don't live that kind of life. I'd love to, but I don't. On the note of like ultra processed foods, a lot of herbalists, especially when they're doing their training at more kind of clinical levels, you do modules of nutrition as well. So you do learn nutrition and what's good for you and what's not. So you do tend to live a healthier lifestyle. But anyone who starts doing any research into nutrition starts living a healthier lifestyle. That's not a herbalist-centric thing. Yes, it's great when you get to grow your own food and make your own, like all your own homemade, non-processed meals. I love to cook. It is one of my favourite hobbies. So I cook more unprocessed stuff than most. But the majority of people are so exhausted from the society we live in that they are general people throwing a pizza in the oven at the end of the day. Because I'm tired, you're tired, we're all tired. So we're not some mythical gold shiny creature that is all healthy all the time. We're normal people with different degrees of what they're able to achieve in their day-to-day because of living normal lives. Finally, point 5, herbalists aren't trained. A herbalist is anyone who practices herbal medicine, point blank. So if you practice herbal medicine in your own home, great. It starts in the home. I don't know a single person that goes out into the world and goes, what's this plant? I'm going to put it in my mouth. That's the no training part of herbalism, and I'm worried for those people. Most herbalists start with books, practicing things at home, going to talks, going to workshops. That is all training. It's just training for normally what your needs are at home. Everyone learns in very different ways in herbalism, and what's great about herbalism is there are so many ways to learn and there are so many methods of learning, and there are different modes of learning depending on your outcomes. There are individual workshops and classes if there's a specific thing that you're trying to learn. There are community classes if there's again a certain level you're trying to learn. There are clinical courses if you want to learn to treat lots of different things. Oh, hello. Yeah. You go for that walk. One of my friends put it perfectly where she said herbalists are seen as the chiropractors of flowers. And it really made me laugh. I thought that was a fantastic phrase. Because a lot of people already dismiss chiropractors as kind of like a failed doctor, whereas I've met a load of really great chiropractors. The word that normally someone will use in front of herbalist, if they say they're a community herbalist or an indigenous herbalist or a clinical herbalist, there's this view in the Western world that denotes the level of herbalist that you're at. Oh, that you're more advanced and you're more trained. And I'm like, that just describes the scope of their practice. It doesn't describe that they are more trained than anyone else, that they are more valid as a herbalist than anyone else. And that is a stereotype that exists within the herbalism community. There are clinical herbalists that look down on the home herbalists because their scopes are different. It does not mean that they are more valid as a herbalist than that home herbalist, that community herbalist. Someone who just says, I'm a herbalist or a herbalist in training, you are not more valid because you're clinical over a herbalist in training or because you're a home herbalist. Every herbalist is valid, but that word they'll normally use denotes the scope of their practice. I've not met anyone that decides, I want to be a herbalist that treats strangers, therefore I'm going to set up a practice and get no training. I've not met anyone that does that. I'm not saying they don't exist, and that requires vetting in its own right. But most people, if they decide, I want to be a herbalist and I want to be able to treat strangers, they go for a clinical course because they know it's going to give them anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, botany. There are a lot of really technical things with how the body works and how they interact with medications that if you want to work in a clinical setting, which hence the word clinical, and work with doctors and medications, that's why someone takes a clinical course. If someone's like, I don't really want to have that as my scope, I kind of want to help my community and then refer on when I know something is further than what I'm comfortable dealing with, they might call themselves a community herbalist. when they're like, oh, I really just want to help my family in my home, but I can go to a GP when something's more serious, they might call themselves a home herbalist. They might decide that none of those fit with them and they don't want to describe the scope of their practice. They'll just say, I'm a herbalist. This internal bickering about what is a level of training for a herbalist does not help this myth. It makes it far worse. Describing the scope of your practice as a herbalist should not be putting down other herbalists. We have enough stereotypes and myths and things that we have to work with. We don't need to be fighting each other. Come on, guys, we can do better. We can do so much better than that. So, to conclude, not all herbalists should be painted with the same brush. We don't need to paint herbalists all with the same brush. We are all wonderful individual beings on our own journey with connecting to the natural world and plants and their medicine in our own ways. And it's all valid. It's all valid. It's all valid within the herbalism community, and it's all valid outside of the herbalism community. You will be on your own journey as a herbalist, and you may not agree with any of the shit I said here, and that's fine. That's the point of your own journey. But you do you. Be the best herbalist you can be. That is all from me. Drop any herbalist stereotypes or myths and things in the comments below. If you have a particular thing that you'd like clearing up, pop it in the comments. And maybe we can have a bunch of herbalists giving their point of view, so you can see that there's diversity and variety all within herbalism. If you are a herbalist and you've heard a myth or a stereotype that I haven't mentioned here today, pop that in the comments below as well. Let's get a little directory of all the things that people believe about us going. Why not? So, that's all from me. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Herbalism is so hard to make a career and genuinely made me laugh. Loved it. Don't stand on the handpan.